How many times have you caught yourself seeking immediate pleasure, whether by scrolling for hours on social media or binge-watching series nonstop? The pursuit of these small satisfactions may seem harmless, but could it be leading us down a dangerous path? Just as Aldous Huxley warned in Brave New World, we live in an era where pleasure has become a tool of control. In the past, social control was imposed by force. Today, it's served on trays of constant distractions and pleasures that keep us from focusing on what truly matters. But does this comfort come without consequences? By accepting these daily distractions, we end up giving up something essential, our autonomy. Huxley shows us that modern social control doesn't need chains or tyranny. It relies on the small rewards that keep us entertained and complacent. We believe we're in control of our lives, but are the decisions we make really our own? The concept of modern freedom increasingly feels like a mirage, especially when we observe the role of social media and technology in our routines. Every day, we're bombarded by notifications, algorithms, and stimuli that distract us from real problems, creating the illusion that we're always connected, always free. However, this connectivity comes at a cost. Contemporary philosophy has long debated the true nature of freedom, and some thinkers argue that we're being subtly controlled by these distractions. After all, how can we be truly free if our thoughts, actions, and even our desires are shaped by countless external influences we don't even notice? Smartphones and social media not only offer us convenience and entertainment, but also serve as powerful tools of social control. Think about the algorithms that shape the content we consume daily. Every click, every like, and every share feeds a machine that learns our habits and then offers us more of the same, creating an almost hypnotic cycle. This constant repetition conditions us in subtle ways, shaping our opinions and influencing behaviors without us realizing it. It's as if we're always connected but disconnected from our own autonomy. Studies, like those conducted by Stanford University and Yale University, show that the dopamine released in our brains when interacting with these devices creates a dependency similar to that of addictive substances. This dependency makes control easier, keeping us entertained and satisfied with digital pleasures. Technology then becomes an invisible prison from which we rarely notice we need to escape. We live in an era where entertainment has never been more accessible or more dominant in our lives. From series to social media, the constant pursuit of instant gratification has shaped the way we think and act. This makes us passive and often complacent. The culture of binge watching, for example, encourages the excessive consumption of content, causing us to spend hours immersed in stories, yet distanced from our own reality. The idea of voluntary servitude, coined by the philosopher H.N. de la Boétie, applies perfectly here. By surrendering so easily to entertainment, we unknowingly give up our critical thinking. Instead of questioning the world around us, we accept the comfort these distractions provide. Psychologically, this affects our attention and analytical abilities, making us more susceptible to external influences and less inclined to act autonomously or questioningly. The concept of operant conditioning, developed by B.F. Skinner, helps us understand how human behavior can be subtly shaped. In our daily lives, we are constantly reinforced to follow certain social patterns without even realizing it. When we do something that results in a reward, like receiving compliments, approval, or even a simple like on social media, we are encouraged to repeat that behavior. This is because positive reinforcement, rewards, makes us associate that action with something desirable. Over time, this cycle of behavior and reward becomes automatic. In a social context, this mechanism is widely used to make us adhere to norms and expectations. For example, by following certain aesthetic or behavioral standards, we are socially rewarded with acceptance, while breaking these norms often results in punishment, like criticism or exclusion. This type of conditioning goes beyond the obvious, shaping our actions and even our thoughts, making us believe that the choices we make are genuinely ours when, in fact, they have been carefully reinforced over time. Skinner demonstrated in his experiments with animals that positively reinforced behaviors tend to be repeated. The same principle applies to society. Desired actions are reinforced and thus maintained. The power of this conditioning lies in its subtlety. Most people don't realize they are being conditioned because these social rewards, like others' approval or recognition, are internalized as part of our identity. The result is that we accept roles and social expectations without questioning them, believing that we are in control when, in reality, we are responding to stimuli carefully shaped by culture and society. This process makes us conform, adjusting to what is expected without ever truly realizing how our behaviors are being programmed. The relentless pursuit of pleasure has been used as an effective tool of social control. Whether through the consumption of drugs, pornography, or even the distractions provided by entertainment, pleasure can become an invisible prison. The promise of immediate gratification keeps us complacent, satisfied with small doses of pleasure, while deeper and more significant issues are neglected. The philosopher Aldous Huxley, in his work Brave New World, illustrated how a society can be controlled not by force or explicit repression, but by the offering of constant pleasures, like the use of the drug soma, which kept people happy and submissive. In real life, the dependency on pleasures like recreational drugs or easy entertainment makes us accept reality without questioning it, simply seeking the next dose of relief or distraction. This vicious cycle weakens our ability to resist more subtle forms of manipulation. Psychologically, the constant pursuit of pleasure activates reward systems in the brain, creating a dependency similar to that of chemical substances. We become complacent, less likely to fight for change or question the status quo. Pleasure, in this sense, is an effective tool of control because while we are focused on our personal gratifications, we set aside social criticism and the pursuit of true freedom. By ensuring that people have their pleasures satisfied, society creates a form of soft control where dissatisfaction rarely transforms into action. Literary dystopias, such as Brave New World by Aldous Huxley in 1984 by George Orwell, are more than just fiction. They serve as powerful warnings about the dangers of social control disguised as comfort and security. In Brave New World, for example, the use of the drug soma keeps the population docile and satisfied, eliminating any desire for resistance or questioning. There is no need for explicit oppression, as people are conditioned to love their own servitude. Constant pleasure keeps them numb, trapped in a routine of immediate gratification, never feeling the need to fight for something greater. In 1984, Orwell explores the opposite side of the spectrum: control through explicit repression, constant surveillance, and manipulation of the truth. Big Brother symbolizes a regime of total control, where citizens are monitored and indoctrinated to follow the official narrative without question. Although this form of control is more brutal, both authors reach the same conclusion. The real danger lies in how societies can shape human thought and behavior, whether through fear or pleasure. These dystopias warn us that social control does not need to be imposed by force. In fact, the more subtle it is, the more effective it becomes. By offering distractions, pleasures, and a false sense of security, authorities can manipulate the masses almost imperceptibly. In our current world, excessive entertainment, social media, and even technology distract us from truly important issues, keeping us trapped in a cycle of passivity. These works of fiction are, in reality, mirrors of our own world, inviting us to reflect on how vulnerable we are to social control. whether it's explicit or disguised as comfort. The increase in substance use and addiction to entertainment reveals a modern form of social control. Substances like recreational drugs, alcohol, and even prescription medications are consumed with the intent of relieving stress or escaping difficult realities, but they end up serving as tools to keep people complacent. Similarly, digital entertainment in the form of social media, games, or streaming platforms creates an almost irresistible dependency. The quick and easy pleasure these addictions provide distracts people from the deeper challenges and questions of life, turning into a kind of mental anesthesia. Entertainment addiction, in particular, is a subtle and insidious form of control. With every new recommended video or watched episode, algorithms keep us trapped in a cycle that consumes our attention and prevents us from critically reflecting on our reality. The same happens with excessive substance use, which, in addition to promoting a sense of escape, also weakens the ability to take action and question. This creates a population that, instead of seeking change, becomes comfortable in passivity, accepting fleeting pleasures in exchange for their autonomy. These addictions, whether to substances or entertainment, are driven by growing demand, but are also manipulated by power structures that profit from our distraction. The more time we spend focused on these gratifications, the less we question the world around us. In this sense, the relentless pursuit of pleasure becomes a powerful tool of control, limiting our ability to act and think critically. Resisting manipulation in a world that offers pleasure and comfort in exchange for our freedom is an extremely difficult task. Modern society bombards us with constant distractions, whether it's social media, entertainment, or even rampant consumerism, making the act of resistance almost impossible. However, true freedom requires us to be critical and aware, to see beyond these distractions and question the mechanisms that sustain them. The problem is that the more immersed we are in these distractions, the harder it becomes to maintain our autonomy. To resist means giving up certain immediate comforts and having the courage to face the discomfort of reflection. It often means going against the grain of a society that values immediate pleasure and conformity. Manipulation is strengthened precisely because it offers us what we most desire: comfort, approval, and distraction. By accepting these rewards, we become participants in the very system that controls us. Staying autonomous in this context requires constant vigilance. We need to recognize when we are being manipulated and deliberately choose to think independently. This can be uncomfortable and lonely, as most people prefer the safety of distractions. However, resistance begins with awareness. By developing a stronger critical sense, we can break free from the cycles of manipulation and reclaim our ability to act authentically. The struggle for freedom goes far beyond political issues. It is about preserving the most essential part of our humanity. Being free is not just about making choices, but about ensuring that those choices are authentic, reflecting who we truly are and not what has been imposed on us. Frederick Douglass, one of the great advocates for freedom, pointed out that accepting happy servitude is one of the greatest dangers to human beings. When we settle into a comfortable life and do not question the structures around us, we end up abandoning our essence. Preserving our humanity, therefore, means being constantly vigilant, ensuring that our thoughts and actions are not shaped by external influences that rob us of autonomy. In a world full of distractions and superficial pleasures, maintaining critical awareness is an act of resistance. Douglass reminds us that true freedom can only be achieved when we recognize and reject these subtle forms of control, which often come disguised as comfort and convenience. Maintaining our humanity means questioning, resisting, and, above all, ensuring that our choices reflect our true values and desires. If we lose this ability, we risk becoming mere cogs in a system that conditions us to live passively. The true fight for freedom is ultimately The struggle to preserve what makes us human, our ability to think critically, act consciously, and live according to our own truth. As technology advances, the question arises of how it will continue to be used as a tool of social control. In the future, the line between freedom and servitude may become even more blurred, especially if surveillance and digital manipulation technologies become more sophisticated. What we will see in the coming years is a society divided between those who resist this servitude disguised as comfort and those who accept this reality without question. With algorithms becoming increasingly efficient at predicting and shaping our behavior, social control may become practically invisible. There will no longer be a need to impose strict rules and restrictions. The technology itself will do the work of keeping us within the imposed limits. This leaves us with the question, how can we preserve our autonomy in a world where our choices are already being shaped before we even make them? This reflection on the future invites us to think about the role we want to play. Will we be those who resist and fight for authentic freedom, or will we be content with the illusion of freedom offered by distractions and immediate pleasures? The road ahead may be challenging, but critical awareness and the ability to question what surrounds us will be essential in ensuring we don't become mere passive spectators in a world controlled by the technologies that were meant to serve us but now risk dominating us.